On June 9, 2022, Karen Ridd was indicted in Norfolk County, Massachusetts on multiple criminal counts, including second-degree murder in connection with the death of her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. The indictment followed an investigation into the January 29, 2022 events in Canton, Massachusetts, where Mr. O'Keefe was discovered unresponsive with catastrophic injuries outside a local residence. According to the investigation, the core dispute of the case centered on whether the victim's trauma was the result of a vehicular homicide or an alternative physical altercation. The prosecution contended that Ms. Ridd struck Mr. O'Keefe with her SUV and left him to die in a blizzard. Conversely, the defense maintained that Ms. Ridd safely dropped him off at the residence and was later framed by law enforcement to cover up a fatal altercation that occurred inside the home. The criminal case was heard in the Norfolk Superior Court before presiding Judge Beverly Cannon in Dedham, Massachusetts. Following extensive pre-trial litigation, the high-profile jury trials commenced under her supervision to evaluate the competing forensic theories surrounding the tragedy. The initial trial began in April 2024, but resulted in a mistrial on July 1st, 2024, after a hung jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict, prompting the court to schedule a retrial. On June 9, 2025, the defense called forensic pathologist Dr. Elizabeth Laposada to the stand during the retrial proceedings to deliver her direct expert medical testimony. Her time on the witness stand extended into the following day, culminating on June 10, 2025, when Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan initiated the cross-examination on behalf of the prosecution.
Good afternoon, Dr. Laposada.
6 minutes till the afternoon. Good afternoon.
That's okay. You wrote a report in this case, doctor?
Yes, I did.
Do you think that based on your analysis, was Mr. O'Keefe thrust backwards? Is that what you determined looking at his head injury?
That he was, I didn't understand. You had your hand in front of your mouth.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You talked about a head injury that Mr. O'Keefe had, that
Yes.
he suffered from,
Yes.
that caused his death.
Yes.
Was that caused by being thrust backwards?
Yeah, the motion was upwards, down.
Okay. And the way you just showed it could be a fall.
Correct.
Did you have an opinion looking at his wound that he was thrust backwards?
What do you mean thrust? His body went backwards. There may have been some applied force to it.
I don't know about thrust. I'm asking if you have an opinion. Your words. Do you have an opinion about thrust?
What do you mean thrust?
Did the forensic pathology diagnosis mean Mr. O'Keefe's body was thrust backward?
If you want to say thrust as indicating movement, that it went backwards, then you could say it was thrust.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you page 2 of your report, Dr. Laposada.
Yes.
I'm just going to ask you to read it, not out loud, and then I can ask you the question after we take it. But I want to
Yes.
take a look.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
No, absolutely.
So, Dr. Laposada, what did you mean when you described that Mr. O'Keefe's body was thrust backward from a standing position?
I mean that he was standing upright and his body had momentum and went down and hit at the back of his head. So it was thrust backwards.
You cannot tell forensically how much momentum he had, can you?
No, we don't do those analyses.
You can't tell if anything caused that momentum based on the head injury, can you?
What do you mean causative? It was caused by his body went backwards.
Yes. And so the amount of force causing him to go backwards, that's not something you can determine from the head wound, is it?
No, I can't tell you the amount of force. It was significant because he had the massive skull fractures.
Did you say it would be significant?
Yes, significant force.
In modern medicine, there are a number of different machines that can help us see the brain, like a CAT scan, perhaps?
Sure.
MRIs?
Yes.
Would you agree with modern medicine that the use of MRIs and CAT scans and other tools give a clinician equal, if not better, opportunity to examine the brain as actually cutting it and holding it in your hand?
No, the actual gold standard is the pathology, to be able to have the brain in your hand, look at it with your naked eye. And we have conferences in the hospital where we meet with radiologists and say what we find at autopsy and see if their radiology was correct.
Can CAT scans and MRIs show contusions on the brain?
Well, they might.
Subdermal hemorrhages?
Subdural hemorrhages. Yes, they can.
Herniations?
They can.
Do you have any doubt about the modern medicine and the use of MRIs and CAT scans? Do you think they're inadequate in any way?
Well, I'm not a clinician, so I don't use those to diagnose diseases in living patients.
Dr. LaPosada, have you ever had any experience studying the brain in real time, clinically, going and opening somebody's skull and treating the injury before the person dies?
No, I'm not a neurosurgeon.
You don't have any neurological expertise, do you?
I'm not a neurologist. I'm not a neurosurgeon. I'm a forensic pathologist.
Do you have any clinical experience at all where there's an acute head injury and you're making an effort to observe it and analyze the injury as it progresses in an attempt to save the person's life?
I don't treat or diagnose living patients.
I understand, but as far as your background, have you ever had any experience, clinical experience, showing the progress of an actual brain injury and trying to treat it?
I understand the physiology of what happens to the brain when it is impacted by something, whether it be a bullet, a boulder, a fall. So I know what happens to the body to cause the changes from that trauma. I don't treat people for those injuries.
Dr. LaPosada testified that while she possesses specialized expertise regarding the exact mechanisms that cause these types of injuries, her professional scope is dedicated to forensic investigation rather than clinical treatment. Under Section 702 of the Massachusetts Guide to Evidence, an expert witness is permitted to testify if their specialized knowledge will help the jury understand evidence that falls outside the experience of an ordinary person. Under Massachusetts general laws, Chapter 38, Section 4, a forensic pathology examination holds primary legal authority over a case. Under these statutory guidelines and the forensic standards of the National Association of Medical Examiners, a physical postmortem autopsy is established as the absolute gold standard for determining the cause and manner of death. Because the law relies on the pathologist's direct physical observation of trauma rather than electronic interpretations, their empirical findings carry heavy legal influence when resolving how a fatal injury occurred. By prioritizing direct anatomical observation over digital scans, Dr. LaPosada successfully demonstrated that her methodology aligns with proper forensic standards, neutralizing the prosecution's attempt to discredit her findings based on a lack of...
You had an opinion to the jury today, and you said that you believe that Mr. O'Keefe died within 15 minutes?
Yes, I think that process would start within 15 or 20 minutes.
Is that to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that opinion?
Yes, based on the severity of the injury and the brain swelling.
You're aware that there are numerous level 1 trauma centers around the country that deal with brain injury, right?
Sure.
And the idea is that people suffer all types of brain injury, and if they are given medical attention in a reasonable amount of time, there's a chance they can be saved, yes?
It's possible, but many are so severe that they cause death no matter how fast they can get medical attention.
In fact, every day when people get the right attention or proper attention, they're brought to level 1 trauma centers around this country to try to help them or save them. Isn't that fair to say?
I would hope so.
Do you think?
Sure.
When you looked at Mr. O'Keefe's brain, obviously it's after he already expired, correct?
Obviously, yes.
And so you didn't have any clinical observation of the progress of his injury that night, did you?
I was not observing him. I did not observe how he got his injury.
When you gave an estimate, or you give an opinion about how long he was alive for. Are you aware that there's certain tests that are done by neurosurgeons when people are suffering brain injuries, but there's an attempt to save them?
Sure.
Have you ever heard of a Guzman coma score?
Glasgow, you mean?
No, but it's Glasgow, but you've heard of Guzman?
It's called Glasgow Coma Score.
Have you ever seen the assessment that a level 1 trauma center goes through when they're trying to save somebody with a brain injury?
I'm generally familiar with the emergency procedures to save somebody's life.
Have you ever read any statistical studies attempting to correlate the brain injury with the time somebody would live for?
I am aware of that, and I see that in my practice of people who have survived brain injuries and die of something else. Then I can look at the brain and understand how the brain can heal or react to injuries.
And many people who suffer coup contre coup will go into a brain surgeon center, and many of them pass after time, don't they?
Now, every case is different.
Right. Some might live for an hour, hours, weeks, months, or survive the injury. Isn't that fair to say?
It depends on the case.
In this case, you don't have any objective criteria to identify the amount of time Mr. O'Keefe would have lived if he had the appropriate help. Isn't that fair to say?
I don't think it would have been effective because there were massive skull fractures to the base of the skull, and there are cases where the amount of force and energy applied to the head causing skull fractures, breaking the neurons, causing the brain swelling, despite rapid medical treatment, those people cannot be saved. They can't effectively stop the brain swelling.
Many people can't be saved. Did you know that about 1/3 of them do get saved?
I don't know what you're talking about. 1/3 of everybody has different sorts of injuries. 1/3 of what?
With a clivus fracture, coup contre coup. Are you aware that 1/3 of those patients survive if they get the proper treatment?
It depends on the amount of force.
Okay. Are you aware that a study would show, have you ever read a study by Isaac Wolf on clivus fractures?
No.
Have you read any studies on clivus fractures?
Clivus fractures? Yes, I understand what clivus fractures are. It's a part of the base of the skull.
Okay.
And
And
it
have
depends. Oops. Okay, go ahead.
Please. Did you want to
No,
say?
you go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you read any studies that tell you with the proper treatment, despite these potentially catastrophic injuries, that 1/3 of patients can survive?
No, but that's not the case we have here.
And so in this case, I asked if you had any objective criteria. You don't have any objective criteria about the progress of Mr. O'Keefe's wound that can be a basis for you to conclude that he would have died in 15 minutes. Isn't that fair to say?
No, I understand what happens to the brain when it gets that sort of injury. I understand the time course and the physiology. I've seen hundreds of individuals who've had brain injuries. Some survive for a longer period, some die earlier, and it depends on the amount of force and the amount of brain swelling. And in Mr. O'Keefe's case, we had the massive skull fractures of the base of the brain and immediate swelling and subarachnoid and subdural. So he had a large force applied to his head, which caused the brain swelling and the and the progression of the brain stem down through the foramen magnum that stopped the brain. It was a very forceful impact.
You examined his brain after you looked at photographs. You can't tell us objectively when his brain swell started.
It started immediately after impact.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell us what the progress of that brain swell was by looking at his post-mortem photos.
By looking at the post-mortem photos and the post-mortem examination, I can tell the degree of force from the extensive skull fractures that were present.
What was the degree of force?
It was medium to large.
Well, That's a wide range. What do you mean? Quantify medium
So I'll
to
strike
large,
the comment.
please.
Ask the question, Mr. Brown.
What does medium to large mean?
Enough to cause a lot of fractures to the skull. He didn't just like sit down and lie down.
If he sat down and lied down, he probably wouldn't have fractured his skull, correct?
That's obvious, yes.
Right. And so when you're telling us you can identify that he immediately died or died within 15 minutes, I'm asking you for objective criteria. For you to give that opinion, I'm asking you what objective information you have. And so you said that there was a large amount of force, correct?
Sure, but because there were massive skull fractures, and there's a lot of energy transmitted to the brain, starts swelling immediately
How do you know this wasn't medium force and not large force?
because of the extensive number of skull fractures,
So are you saying it was medium or large force?
medium to large.
Okay. How much force is that? Can you quantify it?
No.
Dr. Laposada relates the process to determine the degree of force in the head's injuries being determined by the photos and post-examination. In the medical field, skull fractures have a level of severity. Dr. Laposada explains that the extensive trauma at the base of Mr. O'Keefe's skull specifically involved the clivus, a critical bony structure at the floor of the cranium. Longitudinal clivus fractures are highly uncommon and carry an exceptionally grim prognosis, with historical mortality rates ranging from 67% to 80%. Dr. Laposada relies on this established structural vulnerability to demonstrate that a medium to large force was mechanically required to cause such an acute structural failure, entirely ruling out a minor slip and fall or a gentle transition to the ground. Mr. Brennan introduced the Isaac Wolf study, which posits that patients with a skull fracture experience a 1/3 survival rate if they receive timely medical treatment. While Mr. Brennan utilized this literature to suggest that prompt intervention could have altered the outcome, Dr. Laposada clarified that she was not personally familiar with that specific paper. Under Section 803(18) of the Massachusetts Guide to Evidence Governing Professional Medical Studies, Dr. Laposada legally refused to accept the prosecution's data as a reliable guide for this specific case, arguing that general statistics matter much less than the actual physical reality of the head injury she examined.
And in this case, you talked about your opinions of injury relative to a motor vehicle, didn't you?
That was something I considered.
That's something you considered. Did you know much about the details of the motor vehicle in this case?
Yes.
Okay. When you considered your differential diagnosis, did you consider whether there was any DNA on the vehicle?
I didn't look at any of that.
I'm sorry?
I did not look at any DNA.
Did you know if there was any hair on the vehicle?
I don't know.
Did you consider the scene itself where there may have been a debris field? Did you take a look at the debris field in this case?
I know there were photographs of various pieces of plastic around the area where the body was found.
And do you remember where those pieces were found?
Somewhat, yes.
Did you have an opportunity to consider other evidence like a shoe in the area near where Mr. O'Keefe was found?
I know one shoe was on his foot at the hospital, the other was at the scene.
Do you know if his hat stayed with him after he landed on the ground?
The hat was in the area where his body was found.
Did you take a look at his pants, the back of his pants?
I looked at that, yes.
Okay, what did you see when you saw the back of his pants?
Well, because he had bled from the back of his injury and he was on a hospital gurney, some of that blood came down, so some of the blood was on the back of his pants.
Did you see anything else other than blood on the back of his pants?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember if I saw anything else.
Did you look, when you were doing your differential diagnosis, did you look at any evidence other than physical evidence? Did you look at any data evidence?
I don't know what you mean, data.
Like data you would find on a cell phone?
No.
Did you look at any of the data evidence from the defendant's Lexus?
No, other than looking at the contours of the back to see if it had impacted Mr. O'Keefe.
When you were doing differential diagnosis, did you look at any information that would tell you what the speed of that impact may have been or allegedly was?
Well, it didn't hit him, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. So you didn't care to know anything about the car or the data in the car because you had already formed your opinion?
It did not hit him, so it was not relevant to my opinion.
Is that a different way?
By looking at the body, I could tell that there was no evidence of impact with a vehicle. So whether the vehicle was going slow or fast is not relevant.
And so you didn't try to get any information about the speed of the vehicle? It was totally irrelevant to you?
Correct.
And did you also disregard, well, let me ask you, do you ever look at statements?
I look at witness statements if they're available to me.
Were any of the defendants' statements made available to you?
I did hear some of them.
Did you consider the ones that you heard?
Of course.
Which ones did you hear?
I really can't answer that. I don't know what you'd have to give me an example.
You said that when Mr. O'Keefe first incurred his injury, you think that he was unconscious?
Yes, I think that the severity of the impact made him immediately unconscious.
So if hypothetically Mr. O'Keefe incurred his injury sometime around 12:32, is it your opinion that he never moved again until he was moved physically by somebody else?
Well, I don't know the exact time that he got the injury on the back of the head, but after that time, he could not carry out any purposeful activity.
Mr. Brennan continued to question Dr. Laposada, who reiterates her opinion that Mr. O'Keefe would have been rendered immediately unconscious by the sheer severity of the head trauma. Under the Dober-Lanigan standard governing the admissibility of expert testimony in the Commonwealth, an expert's opinion must be the product of reliable scientific principles and methods applied to sufficient facts or data. Within this framework, Dr. Laposada's reliance on a classic differential diagnosis of the body provides a legally sound, independent foundation to her forensic conclusions. Under Massachusetts Rule of Evidence 702, Dr. Laposada's core opinion satisfies the threshold of scientific validity. Her medical methodology revealed a total absence of physical collision markers from a car on Mr. O'Keefe. This systematic approach ensures that the expert testimony meets all necessary standards for courtroom relevance. When questioned by Mr. Brennan, Dr. Laposada answered that the speed of the car was completely irrelevant because the physical evidence on the body contradicted the theory of a vehicle strike. She asserted that by looking strictly at the body, she could determine there was no vehicular impact, meaning whether the vehicle was moving fast or slow had no bearing on her medical opinion.
Now, you had mentioned that when you were in the medical examiner's office, you had a number of higher profile cases.
Well, every case is important because somebody's dead.
You pointed out some pretty specific ones on direct examination. Were those more important, the ones that were highlighted, or is that the same as every other case?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you had mentioned the Egypt airline crash, Station nightclub fire. Those were highlighted or pronounced on direct examination. Are they equally important as every other case?
Oh, absolutely. Every person is my patient.
You talked about some of your commendations. The Station nightclub fire, you received quite a bit of criticism on that, didn't you?
Well, there was a flurry of negative press without any basis.
You had mentioned that a doctor, a medical examiner, should have gone out to the scene to look at the area where John O'Keefe was found to make observations. Did you suggest that in any way on direct examination?
You have to know what the scene looks like, and usually that is documented in police reports and in police photographs who document the scene.
The Station nightclub fire, that had numerous victims, didn't it?
Yes, 100.
And you received criticism because you were repeatedly requested by emergency responders and police officials to come to the scene, and you refused?
That's incorrect. First of all, nobody called me to come to the scene, and medical examiners are not first responders. As soon as I got a call that there was that fire in the nightclub, my investigator went right to the scene, and I was in constant communication with him throughout the early morning hours of that horrible accident. And I went into the medical examiner's office because I had to start getting ready to run our office 24 hours a day to not only take care of the poor individuals who expired in the nightclub fire, but also the regular work of the medical examiners. So there was no need for me to go to the scene because I had my investigator there, and my job would be at the office to get things all set up to handle the influx of deceased.
Did you receive criticism that over 17 hours there was an effort to have you come to the scene, but you refused?
There were,
I'm going to allow it in a different form.
yeah, that's incorrect.
Hold on,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to scare you. Just
Oh. Okay.
hold on for a second.
Okay.
Ask him differently, Mr. Brennan, please.
Did you receive criticism that officials?
I'm going to allow it based on the ending, pursuant to the ending. Let's get it.
Did you receive criticism that for over 17 hours officials were asking you to come to the scene and you refused?
It was untrue. It was printed in the newspaper. We looked up all the phone records and provided it to the newspapers and showed that nobody called me to go. I would have gone if I needed to. I had my investigator there. It was just bullshit. No, it was erroneous stuff.
Was there other criticisms in 2005 before you left the office?
No, there was a flurry of stuff in the papers. There were union issues, new director of health, new governor. So yeah, there was a little flurry of stuff, which was not substantive.
So you inevitably did resign in 2005.
Yes, because my budget was going to be cut, and I knew that if I had to get rid of a medical examiner, we couldn't do a good job for the state, and I'd done it. I'd been chief for 12 years. I'd been on call 24 hours a day for 12 years, which was an honor, really. But then if I couldn't do a good job, if we cut the budget, I had to get rid of a medical examiner. I couldn't serve the people of Rhode Island well, so I resigned.
Did you resign shortly after the audits and criticism?
No.
Same year?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Dr. La Posada testified that her resignation as the chief medical examiner for the state of Rhode Island was necessitated strictly by systemic budget constraints that compromised agency staffing, directly refuting the unverified extrinsic criticisms circulated by the media. During this line of questioning, Mr. Brennan sought to impeach Dr. La Posada's professional credibility pursuant to Section 611B of the Massachusetts Guide to Evidence by introducing historical, administrative, and public criticisms regarding her prior tenure. While cross-examination is the standard evidentiary mechanism used to test a witness's trustworthiness or competence, the prosecution's strategy relied on unproven collateral matters to imply a lack of professional reliability. Dr. La Posada denied the allegations of untruthfulness by citing an official administrative audit of telecommunication records that disproved these media accusations. Under Section 608(b) of the Massachusetts Guide to Evidence, specific instances of a witness's conduct for the purpose of attacking their character for truthfulness generally cannot be proved by extrinsic evidence. Dr. La Posada's direct factual rebuttal successfully barred this collateral attack from undermining her expert standing. On June 18, 2025, Massachusetts jury acquitted Karen Reed of her most severe charges, including second-degree murder and leaving the scene of a collision causing injury or death, while convicting her of the lesser charge of operating a motor vehicle under the influence. This trial illustrates the critical importance of medical forensic protocols in criminal proceedings and the profound impact expert testimony can cause in a murder trial. When a forensic pathologist is called to testify in a complex homicide case and faces aggressive cross-examination, the caution and the precision of the scientific analysis must be heavily reinforced. By highlighting her medical methodology and explaining to the jury the physiological process of brainstem herniation, Dr. La Posada ensured that she followed proper investigative standards during her postmortem review. Even though she conceded she could not provide an exact count of the skin punctures without reviewing every alternative photograph, she stood firm on her anatomical findings and clarified complex terminology on the stand to guarantee her timeline was properly authentic and keep the integrity of the criminal justice system. This case serves as a reminder that the integrity and reliability of an expert witness is not automatically guaranteed by their medical title, but by their truthfulness on the stand and the unyielding precision of their forensic reports. Comment below if there is a case that you would like us to cover. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and share